Hey everybody, it's your old pal Jeff, Memorabilia Monday, coming to you from London, England, where we are setting up the brand newest Hard Rock Hotel London. Oh man, is it great. This is definitely a sneak peek because we're not even open yet. This is a work in progress. Gio and the Memorabilia team has just installed all of the great stuff, and we've been hanging out and having some fun. Giovanni,
Good to see you.
my old buddy. Look at us in London.
I know. Last time we were together in a session like this, we were in Atlantic City.
That's true. That's true. We have been around. And Gio here, my old buddy, is the director of memorabilia design for Hard Rock International. I've wanted to have him join us more often, but he's always in the wind in various far-flung locations, bringing hard rock culture, bringing these amazing artifacts to life all over the world. So I'm always excited when we're in the same place at the same time, because not only that, Gio, I think you are my oldest friend at Hard Rock.
Well, yeah. I mean, we started at the same place together.
Yeah.
So, about 16 years ago.
It's crazy talk. Yeah. It's crazy. I actually meant that you're the oldest person I knew.
Oh, okay. Well, then there's that too. Probably.
We're a little punchy from international travel, folks. But Gio, you were the lead and the guy who designed the memorabilia displays here in London. Correct. So what are some of the pieces that really jumped out at you? You said, oh, I got to have that for London.
Well, primarily, there was a large focus on the history of the Cumberland Hotel, which is now going to become Hard Rock Hotel London. There are so many artists have stayed here, have lived here, Jimi Hendrix being one that actually lived here, that we wanted to celebrate that history and bring it to the space. So, you know, we have artifacts. We actually have a handwritten poem from Jimi Hendrix written on Cumberland stationery from when he lived here. We have, a Buddy Holly letter written to his mom and dad, written on Cumberland stationery from when he lived here, or stayed here, I should say, on tour. And that's a really interesting letter talking about, how crazy the time zone difference is, and that he just wanted to send hi because he hasn't heard from his parents in a while. So, it's just touching base with the folks back home. And he thought it was interesting how you have to schedule your calls in advance for long distance international calls.
Man.
So it's pretty cool thinking how we are today. We can just pick up a cell phone, dial across the globe, but you have to actually schedule it in advance to make it work. But also just celebrate the strong history of music in this country.
Well, I mean, that's got to be so challenging, though, because when you come to a place like London and you want to celebrate the history of the London music, that's pretty much the entire history of popular music.
Yeah.
It's not like if you went to somewhere like with a very specific kind of music scene. This is, contemporary popular music is predicated on largely on what happened in London back in the day. And so, I mean, the choices you made are impressive. It's a sprawling, huge place, but it definitely tells a story.
Yes.
It's not just all old school Hendrix and Buddy Holly. I mean, you got Ed Sheeran's up in this, Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj. I mean, it really runs the gamut.
Right, and obviously we have artists that aren't necessarily from this country on display too. You just mentioned Taylor Swift, but we also have Paul Stanley. But the interesting thing is, a lot of these artifacts were present in London for that particular artist. So Paul Stanley, the feather outfit that he wore on the Alive Worldwide Tour in '96, he actually wore here in London at Wembley Arena. So, there's also relationships that tie into London, even if they are American artists. The Nicki Minaj hat worn, I can't recall the video offhand.
But it was the one she did with David Guetta.
Yes, that was actually made. The hat was made by a clothier here in London.
Awesome.
So, there's a lot of subtleties that a lot of the guests won't truly know about, but it's a part of the deep process in terms of how we conceptualize memorabilia displays.
It's freaking tremendous is what it is. Well, I love that. I often say that at Hard Rock's, some of my favorite memorabilia displays are the ones that the average guest would probably just walk right by.
Right.
But the savvy guest who really is into it will take a look and realize, holy moly, this is a really deeply historic piece. There's something around the corner over here, and we'll show it to you in a second, that is Stu Sutcliffe's like little cheat sheet bass notes from when he was in the Beatles. And that is an unbelievable piece of history. And it's just kind of on the wall. So when you come visit here, you got to look for it.
Yeah, for certain. He wasn't really the best musician in the group, so he had to kind of write cheat sheets just so he could figure it out. But yeah.
Without Stu quitting the band, Paul McCartney never plays bass, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that in and of itself is significant.
The dominoes fall into place.
Yeah. But it's great. You mentioned the Hendrix thing. I think the Hendrix presence here is incredibly impressive. And I mean, there's instruments and outfits and jewelry, and there's even open reel masters for U.S. release of Axis Bold as Love, I think. But my favorite, and you and I were talking about this earlier, the fan club stuff. Yeah. These little typewritten fan club letters that have things like other experienced fans looking for pen pals. Oh, I'm also into Bob Dylan, or I'm into mods. It's just amazing to stand and read that stuff, and just mind-blowing. And the Cumberland specific handwritten stuff is mind-blowing because, you mentioned the Buddy Holly thing. That 58 tour, when he stayed here, totally changed the course of modern music. You've got all of those first generation British rock stars, the Beatles, the Stones, the classic artists that we all know and love, so influenced by Buddy. And he happened to make it over here in his incredibly short career and short life. It's a watershed moment, and celebrated on the walls, courtesy of my man Gio.
It's an amazing gig being able to mess around and play with these artifacts and design how it's going to be represented within the properties, and come up with the interiors and along with the interior design teams, and just work together and collectively as one. All is one. All
is one, baby. Love all, serve all.
Yes.
So, what's this thing behind us?
Oh, this little thing? So, one amazing part of this property is that the majority of items on display here at the Hard Rock Hotel London, sorry, I got to get out of that, are actually brand new pieces to the collection. They have not been represented in any Hard Rock branded property as of yet until now, and this one is specifically one of them. This was acquired particularly for this location. This is Freddie Mercury's piano, and it's not just a piano from a live tour or something of that nature, which all in well would be an amazing get.
Sure.
But this is from his family's Middlesex home when they arrived in England from Zanzibar.
Mind blowing.
So this is hugely important for his development as an artist.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. And, when you come here, and you'll understand why. Obviously, the piece has an immense amount of gravity to it. And right when you walk in, it is the pow marquee piece right in the front of the joint, right where it belongs. And it's extraordinary. When I first saw it, I almost fell over. Yeah. And, you'd think that guys like us would get cynical or just kind of nonplussed by this stuff after having done this for so long. And it really doesn't happen.
No.
This never becomes background noise to the day job, so we're pretty lucky fellas.
Yeah, every piece, I always talk about the memorabilia being like the Picassos, the Mona Lisas, and we try to make sure that we treat and represent each piece as if it is a Picasso, it is a Mona Lisa, because that's a Freddie Mercury, that's a Hendrix, that's a Buddy Holly, so we truly treasure these treasures, and we want to make certain that they sparkle.
It's awesome. There's a responsibility to it.
Yeah.
It's a weight, but it's one that is happily borne.
Oh, yeah.
My man.
All right.
Cheers, Gio. Look at us in London.
I tell you.
Crazy kids.
Yep.